Hi, welcome to our 2 Cents podcast with Shauna.
And Denny.
Okay, so why did you want to come here with Tanner for the week, Denny?
Just to meet Cameron Ford personally and Natalie and Jesse, the instructors here, and to get my dog on new kits and just practice new scenarios. We can go back to fundamentals. I feel like after we started doing the cargo, I've noticed him wanting to false more because it's hard for me to reward him productively. So it's been nice to just get worse and falsing more.
Which is kind of like how we both felt a little bit off and on through this whole thing. But it's also been good because I feel like a lot of the time, at least when I'm training by myself, I kind of feel like I hit like a ceiling of like, okay, I don't know how to make it harder for my dog, because I think we get in these modes of training certain ways, whether that's amount of odor that you're using or thresholds or just scenarios that you're doing, and it becomes too easy for the dog and you're just like not really growing. So I think,
I think being stagnant is very common in seasoned handlers, and we just don't want to grow anymore and we kind of get like lazy. So I think it's nice to have other perspectives, other like instructors do hides that we wouldn't necessarily do, and kind of just see where we have our holes in our training.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Cameron Ford has always been someone that I've wanted to meet and learn from, and so it's nice to come here and be able to spend like a whole week off of work and just focus on training and not the pressure of work. And yeah, like Denny said, meet Natalie and Jesse and the instructors and learn from them all week has been super great. And
just to see how other handlers like work through their dogs, the imprinting process of other people. And I was going to say something else. I forget though. I don't know. I don't remember what I was just going to say.
Yeah, I think I had a lot to say. Kind of the same things, though, of what you said. Like,
I was going to say, we both are seasonal operational handlers that are paid basically full-time to be handlers, and we took time out of our schedules to come here. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because it's not about the money all the time, you know? It's good to, like, realize, hey, like, yes, I'm going to miss out on this week pay,
yeah,
but I still want to, what's more, like, important to us is like our dogs being where they need to be operationally versus like, okay, it's all about the money.
Yeah 100%. And like we paid our own like gas and everything, like hotel, like coming out here, and we're taking a week off of what we could be getting paid to come out here and learn. Even though, like, job-wise, like, I don't have to do this to have a job, you know? Like, you don't have to do this to have a job and to keep getting jobs, but we want to, and so I think it's just important to remember to, like
always
you said,
to learn and grow.
Yeah, like you said, not get stagnant, and I think that's how a lot of seasoned handlers get stagnant and don't grow, and same with their dogs.
Yeah, and I think especially when you're like a full-time handler, you're in so much in the groove of like going to work, and you're like, oh, I could use the time off, but you know, not a lot of people are going to do that because it's hard out there today, you know, everything's expensive, and you're kind of like, your priorities are a little bit different than, okay, can I afford to take a week off? You know what I mean? And like come here and learn. Which we're both very grateful for the opportunity, obviously.
Yeah, very grateful for the opportunity. It's something I've wanted to do for a while, actually, since Cameron was in Vegas, so yeah, that's been really cool.
Yeah, my mentor, Pete, is the one that actually got me onto Cameron's podcast, so I've been wanting to meet Cameron for, like, literally 7 years, so it's been really nice to actually meet him and see, like, where all the magic happens and just kind of see how they work their dogs and how they imprint their puppies and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
it's definitely been like humbling too at certain times. I think it was Natalie, I think, that was saying that if you're training 80% of the time and it's going well, and the dog's always succeeding like more than 80% of the time. Like it's too easy, and you're not growing with your dog. You're kind of staying stagnant. So it's been pretty like just eye-opening, you know.
What do you feel like has been the most challenging for you and Mano? Because Asani's kind of taking a break here.
Yeah. For Mano, I would say probably like smaller amounts of odor and odor thresholds where it's like not as accessible. Which like, again,
explain
like,
that. Like, I guess people don't really understand that.
Yeah. So say we maybe normally train on like a half a pound of odor, right? But maybe here we're working with 2 ounces a lot, or 2 to 4 ounces. So it's a different scent picture for the dog, and thresholds where the odor is maybe 6 inches to a foot away from the dog when they're sourcing and they're indicating and they're able to get that close, versus like, you know, 4 feet or 6 feet. And so that's something that I knew we needed to work on. But it's nice to come here and see even other things that we need to work on. But I think that's been the biggest struggle, that like, again, you go home and you train and you think you're working on those things and you think your dog's like super solid in those areas, but then someone else sets it up for you and it's just so different. And you don't really see like where your real holes are until you go somewhere else and with other people setting it up and their odors and all the things, and you're like, oh, I thought I was doing that. Like, I like with the luggage thing, like I've done like really deep hides in luggage, but you know, maybe I'm not paying attention to the odor amount or the set time or the
also, don't you feel like when you like set your own hides, like let's say like you do luggages, and like when you know where the odor is, like you're going to pay your dog on like the slightest change, but then like when it's a double blind, you don't necessarily notice those changes, so you're not going to reward them. Yeah. And then if you do, like we were just saying today, like Mano and Tanner were kind of struggling on the luggage today, and then like when we send them back in to search it, they're both showing interest and obviously want to get paid, but is it because of the source of the odor, or is it because of the obedience? Yes,
which I actually didn't really think of a lot until you said it today. I was like, actually, that's like a really good point, because I maybe am gonna try like never sending my dog back anymore and see if that makes a difference, because
I just think Mano's in like a good place now.
Yeah, he kept wanting to go back to the window when
when there was no hide there.
You know, it was sitting there for a while, but I don't really think there's much. It's you know, there's not really much there probably anymore.
Because I also do think like he got paid for not visually seeing something.
Oh yeah, because he saw it after the first few times he did see it, and so that was a good point of like, oh, like have I actually on refines when I send my dog back, am I actually paying the sniffing? Or when you send them back to luggage or like anything, like they could just put their nose at a seam and not actually sniff in. Like you don't know. Like,
they're such like, actors because they want their reward. It's like crazy.
So crazy. So I'm like, that's a good point that like you brought up today of like, oh, like maybe I should just kind of see how he does with those things, and I don't ever send him back. Like maybe I take a few months where I literally never send him back to odor. Like he does it, he finds it, and I never send him back and see. Like I'm kind of interested to see like what happens, because he almost wasn't even interested in searching anything else. He just kept wanting to go back up to that window, that hide was already moved hours ago.
And I don't think that's like necessarily a bad thing to send out a dog if they're in imprinting stages, right?
For sure. Imprinting, 100% different, because there's not a lot of sourcing that goes on. It's a box. It's at an open box. Like they're getting odor. Like you're pretty sure. So I don't think there's a lot of sourcing that goes on in the imprinting, because that's not the point, obviously. But I think you're right that can become like an obedience thing. So you think back to like their reward history and their payment history, like how much have they been getting paid for just going and putting their nose at a bag and sitting, or going because they remember the bag, you know, or going and putting it up at their nose up at that specific window, you know, like he was almost uninterested in those bags because he was like, I want to go back up to the window. So it's like, yeah, how much are we rewarding obedience versus like odor? Like, is it really? So if you have a hide where the first time the dog gets paid, that is for sure odor, because
Absolutely.
you know. And then the second and third and fourth, so like if you send them back 4 times, 75% in that session they're getting paid for obedience. Absolutely. 25% they're getting paid for odor. So it's like, okay, like actually what are we doing, you know?
Yeah. I think like another thing that I like learned this week was doing, like, we don't work on super high hides, right? Like we'll do some obviously, but not like in the ceiling that we did. And I think that was like a really challenging and good exercise for the dogs because of the ceiling. Like it was like one of those ceilings that have like all those holes and then like
very porous.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like seeping kind of through all the areas where they're searching. And I could tell that Tanner was really struggling to like source it out, but like obviously it's a double blind, so you don't know it's in the ceiling. And like, for example, like he caught it in a whole different room, but it still shared the same wall. And like, at what point do you reward the sourcing versus like
waiting for an indication?
It's hard, you know, because like
it's very hard because you do want to reward the sourcing where you know they're sniffing and not just a sit if they're guessing,
especially if it's a super high hide, because like how can they really indicate that, you know?
Right, unless you show. I think that's something that like you have to show them that picture, like you can get paid at this threshold, because like Mano, like he didn't want to give a final, he just kept circling like he didn't want to, because I mean think about it, like why would he have a reason to believe he gets paid at that threshold? He's never been paid at that threshold. Yeah. So why would he have any reason to believe that he should sit? You know, unless you're showing them and bridging that for them, like we were talking about yesterday, like bridging them, like paying them when they're in odor, and trying to source it, and then you're kind of piecing it together for the okay, this I can actually get paid at this threshold. Next time I'm gonna try to give a final indication, maybe. Yeah.
I think it's like a good reminder for yourself as a team. Like not every scenario is going to have a perfect indication. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Especially, I think it's important to do those every now and then, because you see what your dog's going to look like when they're in odor. They're sure, but they're not like 100%. And that's probably how it's going to be like in real life. Like there's gonna be so many like crazy, they're maybe really tired, or like so many crazy things going on where they may not be 100% sure, and you have to know what that looks like. So I think that was a good point yesterday that we were talking about, like if your training is always perfect, like you don't know what your dog looks like. No, you don't know what your dog looks like when there may be something there but they're not sure. You will never know what their behavior looks like when they're, you know, a little unsure. And you need to know.
And I think it's like important for other handlers to like understand how important it is to like switch kits with other people. Yes, because if you're continually like just running your dogs on your own kits, it's like what like where would you say is like the fine line of them like also tracking our odors? Right.
I mean, I think when you start, because I do think there are dogs that just generalize super well, right? And then there are dogs that see a picture of, they're not generalizing very well, and they are doing really well on your odor because you've had an association with that odor, and then they smell someone else's odor, and there's a lot of similarities, but there's a missing component of, it doesn't smell like my handler though. Right. Yeah, like I know it, but maybe I'll like have a change of behavior, but I maybe won't give a final because there's a component missing, and I'm just not sure.
And I feel like
there's a component missing.
Like the lineups for Tanner is like, that's not his strong suit because he's just not used to those. But I think when it's like a different scent, like we use like Cameron Ford's stuff, I've noticed him versus like our scent at home, like he would go right to the source and sit down and have a final. But here it's like he's like, okay, I'm going to check all of them just to make sure that something doesn't smell a little bit more familiar.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because maybe he's looking for yours, you know? And then when he's like, process of elimination, nothing else smells quite the same. Yeah. this one smells the most similar, but like
yeah, so
it just makes you wonder like how different like are like different odor kits, you know?
But it's common, like a lot of like departments go through this, and like
it is very
it's
common.
It's easy to say to get on different kits, but how often do you really have that potential
opportunity?
Yeah.
And it's how it's stored, how old is it, how fresh is it? There are like so many different components, I think, to that.
It's interesting. Another like problem area I think we have with Tanner is like the more like the urban area, like just like because you and I are both very much inside unless we're doing checkpoints outside with cars and stuff. So but it's still very
car's easy.
It's easy for the dogs. And just doing like a bush hide or something is like something that I personally wouldn't ever do with Tanner. Like it just doesn't seem productive to me. Right. You know? But like I'd still like I think it's still a good like
I don't
exercise.
Think it's maybe it's not like as productive, but it's still, you know, something to expand your dog to make them better and like show them other things. I think like also with the other kits is odor quantity too. Like that's something that I really noticed. I'm like,
what do you think is easier, low or higher?
I really think it depends what the dog is used to. Like Asani, like years ago, she used to only be like paid and trained on the precision like prints. So those were easier for her. And then she smelled like a pound of dynamite instead of the print, and it was hard for her. Like, she didn't understand how to source it. She almost didn't even understand like have like recognition of the odor because it was so different. You know, I really think it truly depends on what they were imprinted on, how they were imprinted, and like what is their reward history. Is their payment history mostly on a certain quantity of odor, because that's what's going to be the easiest for them, because that's what they have the most positive reinforcement towards,
right?
You know.
I feel like with Tanner as a puppy, I always used pounds of odor versus like
same. I imprinted a lot on like a half a pound or like the Scent Logics, which is what equivalent of pounds. It mimics like a pound or two or whatever it is. So it makes sense that like most of his reward history is a large amount. So it's like even though he has it changed, he doesn't have the same like commitment to like ounces of odor. Especially I find in like different thresholds, like deeper thresholds and like closed thresholds. Yeah, that's tough. Within bags, where it almost, like, depending on the bag and, like, how it seals, like, it almost mimics a little bit of, like, residual to them.
Which is crazy because, like a regular bag, it's almost like a cotton... It's like a cotton, you know, where it breathes, like a breathable...
Yeah, I don't think all bags do, though. I think, like, some are more, like, sealed, especially, like, the cooler bags or whatever. Like, they're definitely, like, meant to be sealed, and I think some of the luggage are definitely meant to be more sealed than like your typical little backpack, you know.
I feel like wouldn't you agree, like most of the dogs had kind of trouble with the suitcases this week?
But again, I think it's paying attention to what you're using, you know.
And also like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go home and like practice suitcases, okay, but like what's enough? Like how many reps can I really do with my dog?
You'd probably have to like
before he gets like into obedience versus like actually
searching. Probably have to like set multiple cases.
Yeah, so, and like around the house or something.
Let them like, sit and then have one training room where you rotate your blanks with a hot one, and then you bring in like a new hot one and a new blank one, you know, something like that type of a scenario. Because also I think like what's not paid attention enough, what's not like paid enough attention, I mean, is like set time. Like absolutely, how long is it sitting? Because I like realistically, like if your dog's searching luggage, that's been in there probably 12 hours at least. True. You know, like it's been in there. So you would hope that they would catch that. Yeah, but also you need to show them that picture. Like you need to set something.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, I've done a few hours before, but I've never done longer. No, I've done a few hours, but never longer. But that could look different to the dog. Well, odor that was just placed there an hour ago is gonna look different than odor that was placed there 12 hours ago. So like setting that up, you should set that up, like set it out the night before, let it sit, and then your dog might be like, whoa, this looks a little bit different.
Yeah.
I think to us, we'd be like, oh, it's easy, you know? It should be easier, but it's not about, like, for me, like, I think with dogs, like, it's not about what's easy and what's hard. It's what have they been shown, and, like, what have they been paid on? Like, what is their reward history like? That's what they're going to be the best at. Whether that's small odor, large odor, that's what they're going to be the best at, because that's where they think they're getting paid at. Like, that's where their emotion is going to be. So I think, like, showing them pictures like that of, like, really longer set times, because I think, like, we get impatient as, like, handlers, and I did this too, where I'm
absolutely.
I'm like, no, I just want to set Semtex or something because it's quick
and it's
like,
smelly.
I don't have to let it sit very long,
right?
And it's fine, versus, like, you know,
but it does smell differently, and I also feel like it has a lot to do with the temperature of the room too.
For sure.
Like, if you're doing it like in a hot garage for 12 hours, that's going to be seeping all over the entire garage, right? And if it's cold, like, it's going to be a little bit easier for them to source.
Yeah, and if something has been sitting in a car for 12 hours and they've never searched something that sat in a car for 12 hours, they're going to be going crazy not knowing how to source it. Like, they're going to be like, bop, 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 all over the car, all over the room, whatever
and if
it is.
It's hot, too. Like, it's going to be all over the other cars.
They won't know how to source it. So, like, taking the time to, like, have those set times and showing them those pictures of this is what it looks like, because it probably, even though in our eyes it seems easier, quote unquote, but, like, to them it's just a different scent picture. I don't think it's not easier or harder, it's just a different scent picture that, like, they have to see to be able, and you have to see how they act, you know?
I think my, like, biggest takeaway from this, like, training this week is, like, really have other people do my hides. Like, yes, I want to do, obviously, some
even
hides.
Like, touch them. Like, even, like, hey,
even your own kits.
Come touch my kit. Walk around with me when I place the hide.
Yes,
or, like,
touch everything while you're placing it.
Something, you know,
so
like,
they're not tracking us.
Getting,
and I think, like, that's, I don't know, just, like, it does make you, like, think, like, you want to go back to fundamentals, even though, like, our dogs are seasoned, but, like, Asani, you know, like, Asani and Tanner are both on the same, like, season level. Nano is, like, still fresh and young, and he looks great and, like, happy. He's, like, so happy to do everything that you're doing. But I do think he's at the point now where he wants to be a little bit more challenged. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's how how I felt, like, coming here. Is I'm like, I don't really know, like, what else to do. I feel like sometimes I've hit, like, a wall of, like, okay, like, doing more with him is, like, challenging my skill level now. Like, I don't know how to, like, get him to a next level. Like, it's hard for me now because he's, like, hit my wall of, like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it
like,
definitely makes
hit
sense.
My wall of, like, I want a challenge, and it's almost beyond my, like, skill level of what I know. So I need to increase my skill level so that he can grow, because he's not going to grow if my skill level stays down here.
Exactly.
He's not going to grow. And, like, really, like, we are their dog's limits. Like, what we know and how we train, like, we are usually their limits, I think. So I'm, like, just super grateful that I could come here and have this opportunity. And I think,
show our dogs different pictures, I feel like, is, like, the most important thing.
Biggest takeaway is, like, thresholds of odor and low quantities of odor, and like, what am I actually doing? What is my dog struggling on with that more than I thought, you know? Like, also, and having other people and other eyes to help and to see maybe things that I'm not seeing, and, like, things that you tell me that I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that. And, you know, having other people's odor and other people doing hides that, again, like you said, we may not do, but it's good for our dogs to get better.
Yeah, because, like, honestly, before I came here, I'm like, oh, our training's fine. Like, everything we're doing is fine. And, like, he's doing good. Like, that's fine, you know? But coming here now, it makes me want to grow more as a handler. And, like, I want to challenge myself more. Even just, not just my dog. I want to challenge myself. And, like, now I'm, like, really wanting to do, like, super high heights. Like, I started doing all that stuff when Tanner was little, and, like,
you get in an operational, like, mindset. You stop.
And then you're just kind of like, okay, you're stagnant, because you're like, okay, now I have to kind of, like, be productive for my dog where we're working, right?
Yes, that takes priority.
Yes, exactly.
It takes priority over little things that I want to work on, but, like, that doesn't necessarily pertain to, like, what we do every day at work. So, like, you're tired and your dog's tired, and you may not prioritize it anymore.
Yeah, and where's that fine line? Like, you know, our dogs are working full time, and then when we're done work, you and I are very similar. Like, even after this, like, training every day, we would still...
After dinner, back in the training room.
Right,
and
like, try to, like...
We weren't happy with how this was. We
yeah,
need to, like,
exactly.
work on this.
Yeah.
We need to do this.
But I like that, you know? It's, like, we're just very driven and want I think that's kind of, like, our, like, perfectionist kind of a little bit, which is, like... kind of a double-edged sword in this kind of like field. I feel like you can't, because like they're just dogs, you know.
Yeah,
and
they're
gonna
have to
a really good day one day, and then one day they're gonna look like absolute shit, and they're gonna embarrass us. You know, it's just like how it is. But it's more of like the dogs doesn't really know that they're doing that. It's more of our ego, you know.
For sure. And I think like, what's the fine line between like pushing the dog to be the best they can be, but then also like, they can't spend all their energy doing detection or work. Like, they can, like, you want to take them swimming. They want to be a dog. Like, they want to go to the park. Like,
like this week they have not been doing really any of that.
Which, like, what's the line between, like, you know what I mean? Like, you go to work and there are things that you want to work on training-wise, but you feel like your dog's they're almost spent because they've, you know, put
and
all this energy, all this energy into, like, work and training, but then like, what is there left for them to just go swim or be a dog or like, but I often find that like when you do prioritize them just doing dog things and like decompressing, like actually makes them better when they work. Like, sometimes less is more. Like, don't push too much training. Like,
because I feel like
sometimes less is more.
Like, this is like the first week that I've done, honestly, like odor every single day so frequently. You know,
same.
Because I mean, if I'm at work,
time, but besides like his imprinting stage, like same.
Like, I mean, at work, don't get me wrong, I'll do at least one hide, but that's throughout it's an 8-hour day that I do one hide.
You're not like doing it constantly,
right?
Like, all day.
I can't. I don't have the time. I have to, you know, we have to work. But I think that like it is important though. Like, it's good to like work on these things, but it's also good to give your dog that break, because I do think like if they sit for like a week or whatever, 4 days or something like that even, and then go back to odor, like they look so much more sharp than they did.
A little bit of a break.
The more that you do the reps on them. For
sure. Like pounding it into them, like less is more. And I think them getting to do other activities that like fill their cup, like that they like swimming or a walk, or like they get to do other things. I think that actually makes them a lot of the time like a better working dog, because they get to be a dog and they get to be, you know, do those things with you, and they're not just work. They're more fulfilled. So it's going to make them in turn usually a better working dog, instead of just kennel work, you know.
That's like that high arousal state. And it's like, are they really like, because both of our dogs are, would you say Mano's a pretty high arousal dog?
And what?
Yes, like yes and
no. Like, I think he is, but he composes himself like better until a cue is given. You know?
Yeah, because wouldn't you kind of agree that Tanner's arousal is like a little high for, like when he first starts, like it's like he doesn't really.
I mean, I think he's
with the reps, like when we do like a lineup.
Oh, yeah. Just like I think like, I mean, that could also be like training though, like. Because I've done a lot of like pinpointing reps with Mano, where he's very like boom, 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 because I've practiced that. Like, you go from your high arousal to directly like thinking, high arousal, directly thinking. Whereas like dogs, if you haven't done that, I think
like Tanner struggles with that.
Yeah, I think it does take like a second to settle in, but like Asani too, like she takes a second from her like arousal to settle into a search. Probably, I mean, I feel like I've done that a lot with her, but like Mano's just naturally like better at settling faster. But I think that's just like, that can be I think that's genetics for dogs, to be honest, because I've done similar things with both of them, but probably different better outcomes. With Mano for sure. So
it's interesting to see how different each dog is.
Yeah, and like what you would. It's been cool, like, to raise Mano, though, because I can see so many things that I did wrong with Asani, you know, and then get to fix it or try to. And then of course, you learn even more, and then you learn even more, and there's just, like, things that you would do with your next dog, and your next dog, and your next dog.
And there's going to be mistakes with your next dog, too, you know? It's just,
no next one will be perfect.
Okay.
No.
Hims will be a robot.
Yeah, Hims will be a robot.
Literally.
Even then, not perfect. No. Yeah, very, very true. But it's also cool, like, just the more people you go and train with and see, like, there's always more to learn, which I feel like sometimes you get, again, just, stagnant. Everyone gets stagnant and not as motivated. But when you come and, like, train with other people and they kind of, like, just give you new ideas and new insights, it's encouraging and it's motivating to be like, oh my gosh, there's actually, like, so much more to learn,
Do you feel like you kind of felt a lot of pressure from yourself or others being here because of our, like, social media?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the fact that, like, I do this full time and, like...
Then, like, oh my gosh, automatically
you assume
you have to be perfect,
the dog
right?
is perfect, which I think our dogs are really good, but they're not perfect.
No,
they're definitely
not
perfect, and, like, no dog is perfect.
And like, we don't say they are, of course.
Yeah, no.
And it's common, like,
so.
Of course, everybody does. It's not just in the scent world. Like, you're not going to be making reels of your dog looking like crap.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
You're always going to want to highlight.
For sure, that's what.
That's what Instagram's for. It's like a highlight reel.
That's what everyone does, and I think, like, I think it's nice to show things that, like, how I showed when we were at Huffman's in Oregon, how Mano, like, kind of freaked out with the box with the ball drop.
Yeah,
how he was, like, so, like boing.
He was like,
he's like, what the heck is this? Yeah, he was, like, very caught off guard, and it was just like, I got so many messages about that, like, thanking me for, like, showing that,
being, like, transparent.
Yeah, thank you for being transparent. Like, oh, your dog's not perfect either. Like,
and Tanner isn't either. Like,
I
feel like we work at the port, and he sees this picture every single day. But every single day, I've told you this other day, like, where they, like, rope the, like, not the anchor, but, like, whatever, like,
the rope that rolls up on the thing.
Yeah, it's like every single day he sees that picture, but he's still like, whoa, what is this? Like, it's not like a fear, but it's like,
he's like cautious. Like,
it's like weird.
And you're like, dude, you've seen it a million
times.
Which,
and that's only out of drive, right? Like, if he's in drive, he doesn't care.
Right,
he's on it, goes on top of it, but then he's like kind of just like walking. He's like, whoa, what?
He remembers.
Like, what the hell? Like, you're here all the time. Like, it's just like, it's frustrating, but it's also like, okay, he's a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not really a big deal.
No, yeah, exactly. And I think, like, it's nice to show those things, but I think it's obvious, like, everyone's only going to share mostly going to share their highlights, and that's...
Of course.
And that's just kind of, like, how social media is. But, yeah, I would say I definitely felt pressure to be perfect because we do this full time.
I feel like...
and we post things on social media, and it's like, oh my gosh, people expect...
this, like, perfect
dog and perfect handler and perfect things, and so it's...
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I don't even remember how to, like, hold this leash.
You're like, wait, what do I do?
I was like, wait, hold on. Yeah, it's funny. I think, like, our first day when we were like, all right, go get Tanner, and I'm like, the whole way back to my car, I'm like, don't embarrass me, like, because everyone's like looking at you,
Yeah.
And, like, the first, like, row of, like, distractions, and he was, like, very, like, sitting on, like, a ball. I'm like, wow, this is great.
Yeah,
love this.
Yeah, definitely felt a lot of pressure, but
it's been a good experience.
Yeah,
humbling, especially.
Yeah. It's been very good.
Yeah,
very good learning. Well, I can cut that out.
Okay, that's like, I don't know. Do you want to add anything else?
No, I think we said, like, our takeaways from it, and, our gratitude for getting to come here and meet everyone.
And to learn from all the other people. And
yeah, it's nice to just learn from both aspects, from, like, trainer aspects that are here doing that all the time, and then, they could also hear things from us from, like, an operational standpoint of things, so both sides.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us.
Okay. This is going to be a little, like, bonus episode. I'm sure you guys saw that we were here, wondering what we were doing here. So we just wanted to share our experience. All right, bye.
Bye.